based on what you saw today?
He would have stopped.
Spence would have stopped Pacquiao.
I think he would have broke his ribs. He would have been just too physical, too strong. He would have been more like, when you have a guy like Pacquiao, you have to use him. You know what I'm saying? You have to push him and bully him and bulldog him, because you got to let him know you're the bigger guy. And you have to let him feel it. Like Ugas let him feel it every now and then with a forearm or stiff arm. He would push him on the ground. Because what he's doing is really breaking Pacquiao's rhythm.
I have a broke rib. Errol Spence would have broken Manny Pacquiao's ribs, says Errol Spence's longtime trainer, Derrick James, and we are going to talk about that. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Throw a like on the video. When you guys throw likes on my videos, it does a great job allowing others who are looking for similar information and content. It allows them to see the content. So throw a like on the video, subscribe. We got to talk about it. Manny Pacquiao, in case you live under a rock in the world of boxing, he just had a very fun fight with Cuban Yordenis Ugas, and he got beat. You heard the clip at the beginning. Derrick James did an interview, and he was speaking after the outcome was rendered. He says throughout the interview things like, he said he went before the fight, he went to Ugas's training room, his locker room, and had a chat with him and said, hey, you know, make the most of the opportunity. Everything worked out, the stars aligned for you to be here in this given moment, and you got to just do it. Like, you got to seize it. Like Eminem said, if you had one shot or one opportunity to catch everything, would you catch it or would you let it slip? His palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy, there's vomit on his sweater already, mom's spaghetti. And Ugas did that. He hit Pacquiao with the mom spaghetti. He did not look nervous though. Pacquiao, you know, he didn't look great. Now listen, far be it from me on my channel that I've been in this game for years. Far be it from me to just lie to my audience. Listen, a lot of the Pacquiao fans just give it up. He was beat. It's over. It's like every single time Pacquiao has a loss, there is an excuse. There is like a reason, a rationale. Some guys got the other person's number. It's okay. Pacquiao's still a legend. He's still a Hall of Famer. He's inspired millions. He's inspired a nation. You know what I mean? It's sad to see that this level of, like, you know, I get boxing is a passionate, emotional sport, but some of you guys do too much. Like I said, name one Pacquiao win where he really didn't win, you know, because I don't consider the Tim Bradley first fight. Pacquiao won all the Bradley fights. So I don't consider that as a real win for Bradley. Jeff Horn, he damn sure didn't beat Pacquiao. I'm talking about the Eric Morales one. What did he say? He's like, I did not get to use my glove, the clitoris. You know what I'm saying? He said he didn't get the Cleto Reyes clitoris. You know what I mean? He couldn't get his preferred glove, and he lost to Eric Morales because of that. Research it, look it up. I know some of you guys may not have even been watching boxing, so this could be news to you, but just look it up. Manny says he wasn't able to wear his glove. That's why he lost. He went on to beat Eric Morales 2 times after that. But in that first fight, tough fight, Pacquiao had a cut. I think that had a lot to do with it too. He had a cut over his eye, not something he was probably accustomed to, and he lost. But again, there was these whirlwind of excuses on why he lost, right? When he fought Juan Manuel Marquez in the 3rd fight, I thought Marquez more so than the 1st and 2nd, because the 4th fight where he knocked him out, that fight hadn't even come about. So I was like, oh, Marquez for sure got this. I remember me and my brother ordered the pay-per-view, you know? And when they announced Pacquiao as the winner, I was like, huh? They just robbed my boy Marquez, right? And at that time, I think Pacquiao was gambling and drinking and, you know, having marital problems with Jinky. And she was on the verge of like divorcing him. You guys can find all this information. I'm not lying. They were having marital problems, on the verge of a divorce. Oh, there they go right there. And they're on the verge of a divorce. And that's the excuse that was used. Like, oh, he was so distracted with all this extracurricular family problems. That's why he looked like that versus Marquez 3. Then he gets knocked out later on when he fights Marquez a fourth time, right? Ugas. Oh, actually, Floyd Mayweather. There's another loss. Floyd Mayweather. After he lost, Floyd limited Pacquiao to landing 71 punches, which is outrageous if you're Manny Pacquiao, because no one else can do that. No one else like reduces. That's how you know he's a boxing brain and a boxing genius, right? And then after the fight, he was like, oh, my shoulder, I swam in the Pacific. He was saying his shoulder was hurt and he came in with an injury and passed his medicals, but he was throwing with all his might and conviction, but said his shoulder and he needed salt water to heal him in the Lord. And then now same thing with Ugas. You're seeing all this. He had leg cramps and his legs was too cramped after the second. I mean, he just lost, people. And I said all that to say this. Derrick James gave his opinion saying that Errol Spence would have broke his ribs and beat Pacquiao. And ironically enough, had they fought, I told you on my channel, I was already picking Errol Spence to beat Pacquiao. Pacquiao's still a legend, no love lost. And it's sad that I have to even say this, because anytime I have these blunt conversations with y'all, people get mad like, oh, you hate Pacquiao. Bro, I was picking Errol Spence. It's unfortunate he has an eye injury. I wish him a speedy recovery. But I knew Pacquiao, that wasn't a good fight. Notice Pacquiao's team never really showed major interest in fighting Errol until after he got in a horrific car accident that nearly claimed his life. And then that's when they came to the table. And Justin Fortune even said that in multiple interviews that Errol is not the same. So they waited for Errol to get banged up in that car accident to the point of Pacquiao's strength and conditioning trainer saying that he's not the same person as before the wreck for this fight to come into fruition. So the reason I'm bringing this up, I'm not trying to kick a man while he's down. Pacquiao's a legend. This is a great, respectful photo, but it's just like the fans must be stopped. They got to stop, because how soon we forget. I have a popular boxing channel. I hear it all through comments, through positive comments, negative comment, negativity. I see it. And y'all was telling me a lot of stuff different. Like a lot of people were saying, Ugas, I'm not picking him because he has a torn bicep. Did he look like he had a torn bicep? Do you understand what a torn bicep would do to your arm and how that would limit your range of motion? If you have a truly severely torn bicep, you probably can't even lift your arm like that. Or if you do, you'll be writhing and wincing probably in immense pain because you have a physical injury and you're not 100%. But these are the things you guys told me. As it relates to Errol Spence, since this one is about what would have been and what could have happened, the funny thing, I agree with Derrick James. Pacquiao would have been stopped. He looked, 42 is not old for the average person, but for a boxer, it's a young man's sport. The way he looked versus Ugas, Errol Spence, I think would definitely have stopped him. Ugas, I don't know if he was showing compassion or he didn't, you know what I mean? He was like carrying Pacquiao, I don't know. But I thought he did great, and he probably could have stopped. I think Ugas could have stopped Pacquiao himself, or at least, got a TKO or a knockdown or something. It just would have forced him to get even grimier, you know what I'm saying, and even more aggressive. I really think he could have pulled that, the way Pacquiao was looking, right? Look at his face all tattered up and stuff. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But back to the Errol Spence, why would you believe otherwise? Errol Spence, if people are now saying, now people are doing all the excuses. Oh, but Pacquiao's 42. He was 42 when he signed the contract to fight Errol Spence. He was 42 when he signed the contract to fight Ugas. He's 42 when he, was a champion. Beating Keith Thurman, he was 40 something. And when he had the belt up until recently, he was 40 something. So this is nothing new. People only come up with these excuses when you lose, right? Oh, his age. George Foreman knocked out Michael Moore brutally, and that's at heavyweight, where some of these heavyweights, they'll take you out with one punch. Pacquiao knew what he was signing up for. He made the switch 11 days, to save the event. He's a warrior for that, but it wasn't his night. And the thing is, why I agree with Derrick James here is because everything Ugas did, Errol Spence can do. Control distance, double the jab, triple. He showed you his jab in the Mikey Garcia fight. He showed me. I was at that fight ringside in Jerry's World, right? Errol has an amazing jab. A lot of Texas fighters have an amazing jab, like the Charlos and Errol. So Errol, he can do that. He has great balance, right? Ugas had great balance. Pacquiao was reliant most of his career through speed, being a whirlwind and woo, woo, woo. He looked like he didn't have that. He wasn't coming off the blocks the same, and you know what I mean? He was there to be timed. So what do you think Errol would have done? You know what I mean? And Errol is probably even more of a madman when it comes to his aggressive offense than Ugas. Because you have to understand, I'm not trying to stereotype, but there's a lot of like Cuban fighters, and they're almost like trained fundamentals first, not even go for the kill. And that's the criticism that you heard from some people for Guillermo Rigondeaux in fights or Erislandy Lara in fights. There are some Cuban assassins like Luis King Kong Ortiz. He's just trying to get you out of there for sure, right? And Gamboa in his prime, stuff like that. But, Pacquiao, the bottom line, see how fast he looked? He didn't do all that in the fight. Like, you know what I'm saying? And now it's a million excuses, but it's just funny to see the boxing fans are so fake, because a lot of boxing fans, they just go solely for the low-hanging fruit. Errol Spence has an eye injury. People doubted it. Then he shows the medicals or releases his medicals. ESPN obtains them. Bob Bennett co-signs, INSAC co-signs, the doctor co-signs that he has a tear. His training camp, his trainer, they're all saying the same thing. But people are still doubting Errol Spence and said he ducked the guy he called out, Manny Pacquiao, years ago before the car accident. They're saying he ducked. And then now people are saying, oh, I'm glad he didn't fight Errol Spence because he would have got whooped. You know what I'm saying? And it's funny to me because boxing fans have such, and even boxing media and YouTubers and stuff, they have such laughable commentary. And then when the obvious is in front of you, then they try to switch it up. Like, you was the same person that said Errol ducked with a fake eye injury, and now there's no one, you don't really hear nobody saying Pacquiao on that given night they think would have beat Errol Spence. And you hear Errol Spence trainer saying that Pacquiao would have got his ribs broken. You know what I mean? And Errol is a body snatcher. So yeah, I think it would have been ugly. So if y'all mad at Ugas and Ego, you would have really been mad at Errol Spence, because Pacquiao, the 2-year layoff, the way he looked, the Errol Spence fight, if he was healthy and they fought, I don't see that being good, because Errol got pretty much the same things that Ugas. It's not like Ugas has a jab and the Errol Spence don't have a jab. You know what I mean? It's not like Errol Spence is like tiny in the division and Ugas is real big. They both are big for welterweights. You see what I'm saying? So it just spells trouble. And Errol Spence has been a champion longer, because Ugas didn't even become a champion in the Porter fight, which he should have been a champion. And Errol has had the bigger events, the money, the fame, the fighting in UK in his enemy territory for his most important fight at that point in time. Bro, it would have got ugly for Pacquiao. It's just what it is. So I agree with Derrick James. Let me know if you agree with me, and I'm out.